Well, today's a big day for us. We're all down here and Bill's got all his prefabricated building lying on the ground behind the site. And what we hope to do today is stand the whole building, get the storeroom done and be ready to use it by this afternoon. So plenty of people here. Let's hope we get it done.
With the actual building itself that you've been making, can you just describe a bit the logic behind the slow, steady additions to the building and its evolution over time?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those difficult things. Like, the main reason it's been slow is because I didn't have the money to put into it up front. And another reason that, you know, we're going very slow with all the final accreditation for it is that the co-op on the flats where we've got the building, they're keen to have a larger wastewater system developed rather than have individual ones for each business. So while that's being developed, until that has been set up, I really can't go for final council approval. The thing that's made it easier for us to go slow like this is that we've got a commercial kitchen within about 50 yards of the bakery, and we've got an agreement with council that if we mix the doughs in there we can just bake them off in the oven, so that allows us to stay commercial while we're still renovating or finishing off the bakery. But I suppose it's the finances really that caused us to take so long, because as we sell the bread and make money, we're putting that straight back into the bakery. And along the way I think it's been a very good process, because while we're actually using the bakery, we're then making additions to it, so the additions we make suit the use. So not only does it allow you to be reflective about what you're doing, taking the time, but it allows you to build what's needed rather than what you anticipate is going to be needed. So I think it's much more economical in a way, and it's satisfying, because the I don't know, I think it makes you appreciate every dollar that's going into the place, rather than it just sort of all of a sudden being there. And everything that happens there is something that we've built up by ourselves. You know, we didn't have a contractor come in and just whack it up for us. We've built it from the slab up as a community and as a baking crew. So yeah, we certainly feel we've earned it, and it's our baby. This sort of little bakery, it's endless, the sorts of things that you can get yourself into and learn about, because one thing I'd like to do from here on is move towards that, move towards malting, buying grain, malting them and then milling yourself. And then the next progression after that obviously would be trying to get onto more local grains and developing the grain production much closer to Crystal Waters. So we've got tens of years. We've got a 100-year plan coming up for where we're going to go. So it's quite exciting really, because it gives you a focus for not just living your life and interacting with the community, but for learning, all sorts of things. I've never really known much about nutrition, but this forces you into understanding. Like here you are selling the staff of life, and so really you have to start knowing what that's doing to people's nutrition and how you can better that product. So I think we've got we'll just keep going the way we're going, and this will keep me busy until I drop dead into one of the buckets, I think. Baking in the wood-fired oven, we have a retained heat oven, so you don't actually have a fire going while you're baking. You actually fire the oven and the heat's stored in the masonry of the oven. But in that sort of oven you get a whole range of different effects, rather than like in a normal, say, gas or electric oven. The main heat you're getting is directly from the air, like a convection heat. Whereas from this oven you get that sort of heat hitting your loaf from the air. You get an enormous direct transfer of heat from the masonry, and then you get a radiant heat that's coming out of the bricks that surround the bread. So it gets all these different forms of heat have different wavelengths and penetrate the bread in different ways and bake it in different ways. So you get a much better developed crust, and you get a huge lift when you first put the bread in the oven. So all those sorts of things are different. You don't get a really soft, pappy crumb. It's a nice firm crumb. The crust is tasty. It will store very well. Like if you have it in a cool, dry place, it will just dry out. It won't attract mold. It'll just, over a few weeks, will just slowly go harder and harder and harder. But different people store it in different ways. Some people take it home and slice it immediately, put it in the freezer and just take out a slice at a time if they don't use it very fast. Other people put it in a bag in the fridge, but we just recommend slicing it and storing it face down on a breadboard on your kitchen bench. But yeah, so a very different loaf of bread, and it's but you can't make a sandwich that has bread on the top and bread on the bottom, because it's not a soft enough bread for that. So you make an open sandwich, a lightly toasted open sandwich, those sorts of things. Use pestos, use hummus, and all those sorts of things that soften your bread. It's looking like, I think Alan said something like 1 kilo of wood for 5 kilos of bread. So
That's a pretty fair exchange.
well, I don't know how that works for a white slice from IGA, but we'll have to do some work and find out. I keep in touch with most of the bakers doing similar things in the area, and one couple who actually bought one of Alan Scott's books from our stall at Yamundi have now built 2 of his ovens at Boreen Point, and they've started a little bakery called Slow Rise Bakery. They sell up at the NOOSA markets where we sell, and they're just now trying to move into the Yamundi markets, and I've encouraged them to, we've withdrawn from Yamundi on Wednesdays, I've encouraged them to try for that same spot, because like what we're about is not just trying to keep our market advantage, but trying to get more people eating more good bread. And so that's what we'd like to do, is encourage those people to do what they're doing and help them along the way. And yeah, if the more people want to build small bakeries dotted around the country, I'd be right there helping them do it, because I think that's where we have to go to re-establish that connection between people and their food source. And economically, I think it's imperative that we get back to local economies, because like at the moment, if you have a look at the sort of stuff that they're talking about through the Rocky Mountain Institute, one of the key things they say is that the real problems with local economies is not so much getting money into the local area, but retaining it in that area. And what these small businesses like this do is the more of those you have, the more circuits your money will do around that community before they're finally bled out of the place by the big chain stores like Woolworths and BP's and all these sorts of places. So that's what I would like to see happen in these areas, is many more small businesses replacing the stuff, the services that are being provided by bigger businesses, so that that money can circulate as many times as possible before it's finally sucked out by those big corporate vacuum cleaners. That's what I'm after. I suppose what we're after is we're trying to educate people about all of those sorts of things, about the health benefits, the economic benefits and the social benefits of all of those things, because I think that one of the biggest gnawing aches that human beings have inside them these days is that lack of connection with other people. And I think the commodification of our food systems, or our foods, has been a big thing that's done that. Like, kids don't these days generally just wander down to the baker and eat half the bread on the way home. They don't sort of walk past the bakery and smell the smells as they're going off to school. They don't see the woodworker or the dairyman as they're walking past the school. And since we've lost all those sorts of things, I think we've lost a lot of our community glue and a lot of the important stuff that people need as far as their connections with one another and their physical environment that make us feel human, make us feel whole.
Just for like anyone? Yeah. Can I have a bit of this pizza? Oh, this is so good. Wow.
Until we get back to that, I think we're still going to be feeling empty. And they're the things that sort of every decision we make about the bakery upholds those sorts of beliefs, and that's why we're trying to, like, our longer term plans are trying to bring the production of all our ingredients back closer and closer to home, and all the processing closer and closer to home. But yeah, it's nice. But I think the thing that personally I find so rewarding is that it gives you a wonderful focus that actually allows you to be active in doing that sort of thing. Whereas So many of us, I think, in this crazy society feel these things and feel powerless about it, and so it becomes an enormous frustration because you think, well, how can I do anything about it? But we're blessed here in that we've got the bakery focus and some of the small businesses happening, like the bakery and the dairy and those sorts of things, which allow us to use that focus to actually enact those things that we believe in. And that, I think, is a very healthy spiritual sort of thing. So yeah, I'm sort of blessed. The bakery was almost an accidental thing that happened to me. I wanted to get good bread happening in Crystal Waters, and I felt that a community without a bakery was like a person without a head. So in that way, I was really just trying to get a community oven happening here. And I was almost like the field of dreams. I believed if you built it, a baker would come. And so a baker did come, and a showed us how to bake, and the baker's on. And so now I'm the baker, and we've got a few other bakers happening here, and we're doing it. It's going very well. So it's just fantastic the way that has just happened and given us a focus. The basic ingredients for a loaf of bread that we make is a flour, a good organic stone ground flour, filtered water, natural leaven, and a reduced amount of sea salt. We're just not interested in expanding or like either the production or where we sell. But basically what we want to do is sell in the bioregion. That's why we sell out at NOOSA and Yamundi, really just to let the people in the region know what we're about, because eventually we'd like to withdraw back to Crystal Waters and just be selling at Crystal Waters at the markets here. We just sort of see it as a way of getting the name of Crystal Waters out there and an association with it, and hopefully the bread will be a draw to bring people here regularly to our market. But we've watched a lot of other bakers start up around NOOSA and Yamundi, and they go that same direction of a big factory, 3 or 4 bakers, delivery drivers and that sort of thing, and every week you check in with them, you say, oh, how things are, oh, it'll be okay if we just got another contract or just had another delivery driver or another baker, we just need to produce a bit more. So we've sort of gone out of our way to avoid that crazy treadmill, so we don't wholesale, and we don't deliver, we just sell direct to the public, either here at Crystal Waters or at markets mainly. We do send a little up to the co-op in Maleny, but that way we avoid deliveries, we avoid invoicing, and we bake one night and have cash for our product the next day, which is a fantastic little cash flow for a small business. So, and that's working very well so far. And any concerns about the bread, you're talking directly to your customers every day. So nothing ever gets out of control. You get very rapid feedback. So all those sort of things, just fantastic about it.